Guyler-Alaniz, and this is FarmHer Talks. These are the stories of everyday women who are making the ordinary extraordinary. And as you might guess, this episode is brought to you by Nationwide. They are on our side, and they are on the side of women in agriculture everywhere at farms and ranches all across this country. They are the #1 farm and ranch insurer in this country. And as you've heard me talk before, the importance of managing your risk is something that has been so visible to me for so long, because I had a career in agriculture insurance before I did FarmHer, and that was 11 years of my life. And the types of incidents that I saw and heard about on farms, the types of risk that are inherent on farms, you know, it's really, really important to have an insurer that you trust and to have somebody that you know is on your side. And I know that Nationwide has worked closely with us to support women, and I have nothing but wonderful things to say about them overall as a company. So thank you to Nationwide for supporting FarmHer here and FarmHers everywhere. So today's episode, we're going to keep talking about the major pivot that is going on. And I don't see this changing anytime soon. You know, we've talked to Kara Babinek over in Indiana about how their very, very large livestock operation had some major pivots as the restaurant industry shut down. And we are going to be talking to Erin Cummings at Nationwide about what women and FarmHers and farms overall need to think about when managing their risk in a changing environment, right? Like you have this mega shift going on, and I'm just going to tell you, agents are a key piece to that, right? Like you got to have somebody that you trust, that you can talk to, that knows your business, that can help guide you through these things, because it really, really is important. And then today we're going to be taking it over to Dogpatch Urban Gardens, which is Jenny Quiner. You've heard her on our show in the past. And Jenny is a FarmHer who is always fun to visit, always fun to talk to. And of course, I always love getting to go visit her farm. It's planted right in the middle of the city, as it says right in the name. It is an urban farm. And we're going to be talking about the pivots they made. So Jenny was actually on our show back in January, right at the first of the year, talking about how they were pivoting into the new year. That was pre-pandemic pivot, okay? So they've gone through a lot of changes, and I think you're gonna really wanna hear what they've done, how they've maneuvered, and I really think it's interesting to think about some of the specific things that they had in place before this all happened that helped make it smoother when they had to make quick transitions, because I think that's the thing. Diversity matters, being prepared matters, as prepared as you can, right? And then we're going to take it out to the farm. We're going to talk about greens, and she's going to give us her best tips on soil, on watering, on harvesting and storage of those greens once you get them home from the farm. So let's take it over to Dogpatch Urban Garden. So we are out here at Dogpatch Urban Garden in, what town is this?
Well, our address is Des Moines, but we're unincorporated Polk County.
Okay, yeah, there's houses around us, there's cars driving on the street right over there, but you've got this lovely little piece of land that is doing a lot of things. It's working for you guys. So why don't you give me a lay of the land about what you've got here?
Yeah, so our farm, we have been here for 5 years now, and the property we own, which is kind of our flagship, we have 1 acre of land. We grow on about 1/4 of that, and then we have an on-site Airbnb, and we also have a farm stand. And then a block away, we rent land from a woman. She's got a 2-acre property. So right now we've got about 1/2 an acre under cultivation, and then 2 blocks away we have another property from another neighbor in town.
I love that. So you're utilizing the unincorporated part of this ground right here, right? Because,
definitely.
So you have people who probably have anything from like 1/4 of an acre up to a couple acres,
yeah,
or
and
more.
What's really cool is people have seen what we've done. They really enjoy it, they love it, and they want to support us. So they're like, you know, we've got this land, all we do is mow it.
Yeah.
Do you want to use it? So
you want to use my yard actually, because no mowing sounds fabulous.
Yeah, you know, some people just don't want to manage it, and we've actually had to tell people it's not the right fit for us. There's certain things we need in order to grow on it, but ideally we grow on about 1 acre of land, and we're just about there.
So tell me what you grow, what times of year you grow. Obviously we're in a hoop house?
High tunnel.
High tunnel,
yep.
okay.
You can call it a hoop house,
yeah.
Yep.
It's covered growing, and it's nice filtered light. There's plenty of heat in here, obviously.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what you grow here.
Okay, so main crops that we're pretty much known for are salad greens. So various types of lettuce, spinach, baby kale, mustard greens, arugula. Those are kind of our main market. And we specialize in growing lettuce through the summer. So it's typically not a summer crop, doesn't love the high heat, but we have techniques that allow us to do it. So we found our market. In here, you can see we're pretty much switching over. We did have all greens, and now we're switching over to our tomatoes. So there's 300 or so plants in here that will use these strings to trellis all the way up. We do have some peppers and summer squash as well, but we're not super diversified.
Right.
We're pretty specific in what we grow.
And let's start here. How have you sold your produce in the past? Like, what is your model of getting this food to your customers?
So number one, it would be our farm stand, which is like a retail store that we sell our product, but then product from other growers that are all local. So we're supporting the local growing community as well. We do have it's a modified CSA we call the salad subscription. Last season we had 30 members. This spring we have 80. So we've bumped that up quite a bit.
Whoa.
And it's great. Yeah, I mean, we're able to manage it. With the land expansion, we have more crops. And we sell to local restaurants as well.
So Jenny, last time I talked to you, because we're not too far down the road, and we cross paths somewhat regularly, which is wonderful.
I love it.
So in the winter, gosh, it was right around the first of the year, we had you on our show about pivoting, because you were getting ready to make some changes to how you were operating your farm. And I know that since then you've also gone through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program.
Exactly.
And there's been a pandemic. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what changes you've gone through over the last 6 months? Because and maybe start with where you thought you were going to go this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, well, where to begin? So we did get accepted into the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market. So this would have been our first year selling, and the market hasn't opened yet. And as of now, we know it won't open until July, but we still don't even know if it'll open then. So there's still a lot of unknowns. If that market opens up, we'll be ready to rock and sell there right away. And they did just launch an online store, so we're doing that. So that's kind of a new sales avenue for us, but it's kind of on hold with the virus.
Which makes it tough to plan.
Yes.
And to have the right product, and you might have to be like, oh, we need produce tomorrow,
and
or a really big,
and you can't, you have to plan that 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time, so it does make it tricky. But luckily we're not doing in-person shopping, but we launched an online store with our farm stand, which has done fantastic. And so luckily we've been able to move our product that way, and we're not sitting on a lot of waste. And then upping our CSA has helped us move product as well too. So
did you launch the online store because of obviously the situation that we're in, where you needed to find a new avenue? If people can't come onto your farm, how are you going to get the food to them?
It was kind of like one of those oh no moments. We have all of these things in the ground. How are we going to reach our customers? And so it was a shotgun. It was not what you recommend when you're having this big launch for your business. But we just did a little bit of research, launched this store, and it has just exponentially grown. And it may just be our new business model.
And did you do it yourselves? You were able to learn, figure it out, make that pivot. Tell me a little bit about that process and the behind the scenes of the real of oh, we got to launch an online store.
Well, and I'll say that my husband and I are guilty of, we say ready, aim, or ready, shoot, aim. A lot of times we just go for things and we figure it out as we go. And that's kind of what happened with the online store. The big question was what e-commerce platform to use. And I did a lot of digging and probably spent too much time when I already had an online store through my Squarespace website that I was selling t-shirts and stuff through. So finally it's well, let's just use that. So it was let's keep it simple and then evolve as we go. And so I would say understanding the platform was a big hurdle at first, but our customers knew that okay, this is brand new, we're figuring this out as we go, and they worked with us. And we do everything contactless with our pickup, so people don't even have to get out of the car. They hold up a sign, we have their bag, we put it in their trunk, and people have just loved it. So it's been a huge learning curve for us and the customer, and do something totally new that we've never done before. It was a smooth transition because we could reach our customers. And we use social media, but honestly the biggest value was from that email list. So I do think that in hindsight was the best thing we could have done, and we still do.
That was going to be my question, was how did you reach your customers when you needed to make a change? So right there, like, you had that.
Right. And I know not every business does, and so during the virus there were some businesses that made changes, but it was harder for it to stick because it was hard for them to communicate with their customers. So I do think that email list has been so valuable for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Also, you already had a farm stand. You've gone through some ups and downs with that in the past, right? Like, I mean, this farming is newer to you.
Yeah.
You did not grow up on a farm. You haven't been a farmer your whole life, right?
Exactly.
You guys bought this and you learned as you went with this, and you've got, well, we're here in a residential area, and you've got a commercial business, basically, a farm stand that people can come to the farm. So you didn't have to, like, go, oh my gosh, how does this change my business, my risk, like my, you know, ability to, like, open up my place, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the infrastructure. We had the physical building where people can still come and get their product. We have cold storage. You know, there is even, I know some farmers were scrambling to find, like, deep freezes so that they could stock up and sell things. Luckily, we already had that stuff.
Yeah.
We have parking. We have a church parking lot. You know, so we were really, luckily, already set up to make this transition.
Yeah.
And not that we had planned for it, but all the right stars aligned for us to be able to switch online.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, so I know events were a part of your business last year, and I think they were going to be a piece that you had talked about growing this year.
Yes.
Obviously, that's changed, right?
Right.
So let's talk about another pivot. Did you have to change any events? Did you have to cancel them? Tell me a little bit about how that went.
So we had planned to do 5 farm-to-table dinners. We canceled 2 of them already. Now, we never even launched them. We never even sold the tickets. So, you know, it wasn't like this huge hassle with refunds or anything like that. We have one planned in August, and we're talking to the chef right now, and we're hoping that we'll be able to do it, but it would look different. So typically we did one long, like, 40-person table. Instead, we might have, you'd buy like a table, and then we'd spread out more in the green space.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're working with our chef now to see if he's comfortable, and so that may happen. So right now in the books, we have August, September, and October. So we're hopeful that we'll still be able to host, but we're also cautiously optimistic about
Wait and see, right?
Yeah, and we were going to launch something this season called Doug Unplugged, which would have been like a mini concert series here out at the farm. The first one was supposed to be last Thursday. Obviously that didn't happen, and that's not as high on our radar of something to launch this year.
Right.
So if come fall people are feeling comfortable and want to gather, maybe we'll do one.
Yeah.
But that's kind of put on the back burner for now.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about your customers, because obviously you mentioned earlier, like, you've had a pretty big increase in your customers.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about how that's gone.
Yeah. So starting off, we have a really strong, loyal customer base who have been with us through and through. And most of our customers are pretty local to the farm. Because if you think about the way most people grocery shop, it's within 5 miles of where you live. You know, like, for example, there's a Whole Foods here in town, but it's a 20-minute drive for me, so I don't go there a whole lot.
Right.
So it's all about convenience. So our main customers are pretty localized to us, and when we launched the online store, they were here in a heartbeat. And with our store, we've added more offerings, and every week we work with more people. So like this week, we'll have bread from a local company, and we'll have flowers. So we're always trying to offer more.
Right.
So what we've seen is our go-to customers are spending more money, which is fantastic, but we're also getting this organic reach from other people just telling people.
Right.
Like, hey, we shop here and it's great. You don't have to get out of your car. They wear masks, they wear gloves, we feel safe. So we've had our go-to customers have helped build other customers as well too.
Which is great. And who knows what's going to happen 6 months or a year from now, right? So how are you planning for that? Or
Well,
you
and
just
that's
not.
No, we actually we are planning for it. So our building, it's just a bare bones like Morton building. We are right now getting it temperature controlled. So we're getting air conditioning in there and we're getting heat in there with the idea of we can run this year round, you know? And because in the past it was just 6 months and we were pretty seasonal, and we're just trying to plan ahead. If a second wave comes, you know, who knows what's going to happen, but we want to be prepared. And quite frankly, it'll just be nice for us working in there to have AC and heat.
Yeah, and I mean, by bringing other local farms' produce and baked goods and milk and all of those things in here, it's like you can almost operate like a little grocery store for your community here. So,
yeah, we're like a local goods grocer.
Yeah, because I can tell you that we were just talking about this. Anywhere that I can go to get just a few things that I need that's easy in, easy out, has way more value for me right now than it did a few months ago.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too. Like we knew that everyone was baking, so we started to get local organic flours, and those like bread flours, and those have gone crazy. You know, so customers tell us what they want, and we do our best to find them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Pivot, pivot, pivot. Like you are,
Oh my God, I know.
the pivoting
We're getting
FarmHer.
dizzy.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so how are you holding up? Because I know this is a unique situation. You know, we've found ourselves here too, where okay, everything's changed, and I don't know what the future looks exactly like, and so. You know, we're keeping busy. In fact, I've overloaded myself, and I'm kind of wondering how I'm gonna like back out of that to go back into some version of normal. But that aside, are you like, how are you doing? You know, like hanging in there, like as like juggling all this.
I mean, it's a great question, and truly, this time of year, whenever you talk to a farmer, it's like our heads are spinning. You know, because this is the busy season. The to-do list is always longer than you think. That being said, I've got some great employees. We just hired another woman last week to help with just some of the miscellaneous like wash pack and bagging, things that are taking time that is not the best use of my time.
Yeah.
But I'm still crazy.
Yeah.
And it's been tough on, our family's doing great and everyone's healthy and happy, but it's also been really hard, you know, with not our 3 kids. We're not in school. My husband works full time. And so
Yes.
I mean, there were
a juggle.
It was hard.
Yeah.
But we hired a nanny, which has been a godsend, and we're just figuring out what our new normal looks like for our family and what works the best.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been easy. You know, it's not a cakewalk for basically anyone. Everyone's got unique circumstances that they're working through.
Yeah.
But I would say that we're in a good position right now, and just rolling with it.
Yeah. Well, let's go talk about salad greens a little bit.
Let's do it.
And get some of your best tips on
Let's do
salad
it.
greens. Okay, let's head over to that part. So here we are out in, I guess you call it a garden farm.
Yeah,
Where the food grows.
Yeah, exactly.
And so greens are what you're known for. So I have a few questions about
Bring it on.
green growing. What are these? What is this behind me?
Yeah, so this was just harvested about a half hour ago.
Okay.
So that's why it looks a little beat up right now.
Yeah.
This is a lettuce blend called All-Star Lettuce. We buy it from a company called Johnny Seeds. Love that company, love working with them. So this is a blend of about 4 different varieties of salad greens.
Okay. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm guessing it tastes good too,
Yes,
right?
yes. And that's, I think one thing with, so we grow greens through the summer and it's tricky, and one reason it's tricky is because they don't like the heat and they bolt and they go to seed or they taste bitter.
Right.
But this still has a sweet flavor, and that's just because of some different techniques that we use.
So that was gonna be my first question. It's hot out here. Summer has arrived early.
Yeah,
We
yes.
pivoted from winter to summer here in
Yes,
Iowa.
and I don't love it.
Yeah, and so heat is not the friend of greens.
No,
is what you're telling
no.
me. Okay. And so what about water? Like, tell me a little bit about if I'm gonna grow greens at home,
Yep.
how do I water them?
So there's kind of some different things you need to consider. If you're planting in the summer, I highly recommend you transplant rather than direct seed.
Okay.
The reason being is because seeds don't like to germinate in hot soil. So you could put the seeds in the ground and they just may never pop.
Yeah.
But if you transplant, you're already like giving them a head start.
Yep.
So transplanting is key. These have been direct seeded, but
Okay.
we planted them 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's okay.
Yep.
But these behind you were transplanted.
Yeah. Oh, those
So-
are beautiful. It's
Yes,
like a
they
picture.
are. Yes, and that's our spring mix. That's kind of our custom blend. I love it.
Uh-huh.
But if you're planting in the summer, I highly recommend transplanting your lettuces and then water immediately.
Okay.
And right now we use overhead irrigation, and that is almost like a sprinkler for the greens. And we run it 3 times a day for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we run it at 4 a.m., 3 p.m. when it's the hottest, and then at like midnight.
Okay.
And just a short amount of time, but it just keeps them cool.
I understand that. It's kind of like what you see at the grocery store too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like misters there.
You gotta have
Yep.
the misters there.
Yep.
Okay, so they got to have plenty of water. Talk to me a little bit about the soil.
Yes.
Is it important for it to drain? Can they sit in the water?
Yeah, they don't want high moisture.
Yep.
So you want good drainage in your soil. You also want to have really healthy fertility in your soil, because the goal with summer greens is to get them planted and then get them out of the ground as soon as possible. So a lot of times we will harvest them smaller than they usually get in the shoulder seasons, but
Yeah.
we're like, okay, now they look good, they still taste sweet, before they bolt, let's harvest them.
Yeah.
So you tend to have a shorter time in the ground with summer greens as well too.
Okay, so how do you know when your greens or your lettuce are ready to harvest? Like, is there something that you're like, aha, it's time?
Yeah, one thing is just we know the size. Like at a certain point, we know that needs to come out of the ground. We also can tell, like, if you're looking at it and it's starting to cone or looks like it's shooting up, that it's about to bolt.
Okay.
And you want to get that harvested immediately.
Okay.
And we also know general, like, date to maturity. So if I transplant this day, then in 6 weeks, it generally should be time to harvest. So there's a lot of different indicators that can help you know.
And then once I get my lettuce, I come to the farm stand here, I pick up my lettuce, socially distanced.
Yes.
And I get it home. Is there a certain way that you tell people to store it so that it stays better longer? Because, gosh, it's frustrating when you're like, oh, that's all gooey now.
That's a great question, because as a farmer, we do everything we can to have quality product. And then if you get it home and like just set it on your counter and you're like, well, your greens were bad that I bought from you, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So refrigeration right away. Even like if you're in the grocery store and you throw your items in your trunk, like in the summer, it can get super hot in there and your greens will wilt. So put them in a closed, sealed container, like all of ours are in bags, and put them in your refrigerator right away. And I don't wash them until I'm ready to use them. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah.
So don't go home and wash it. Like, just wash it when you're ready.
Yeah, not necessary to wash them right away, because when you wash them, then you're going to have moisture, and moisture will make them break down faster.
Yep.
So just put it, unless you buy them and there's already moisture there, and you're thinking, oh, maybe we need to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah.
But generally, just throw them in your fridge and wash them when you're ready to use them.
Because they've been washed before they leave the farm.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
It really kind of depends. So if we harvest greens and they're not dirty, we're not going to wash them. And a lot of that has to do with food safety and shelf life of the product.
Yeah.
So we just kind of judge. We're not going to sell you dirty lettuce.
Yeah.
But if it looks fine, we won't wash it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Some good tips. It makes me want to go home and have salad for lunch. So
I got some if you need.
You do. You got all the salad.
Yep.
Here. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing your pivoting with us.
Of course.
I feel like we should schedule this for every 6 months.
I love it.
So maybe we'll be back and talk about what's happening this winter, because you will have a different situation.
Exactly.
Like you will be a year-round farmer.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking into, and we just are starting to launch our salad dressings and different salad toppers. So we're introducing some new products into the farm as well.
I saw that on your Facebook page.
Yep.
Again, it all goes together, right?
Well, yeah, and that, honestly, that was my growth opportunity with the Goldman's class, was the salad dressing. And then when COVID hit, the class went from thrive to survive. And so we all just kind of shifted away from our growth opportunity, which, I mean, it was super valuable with how they helped us through that.
Yeah.
But I still had the salad dressings in my back pocket, and now we're starting to feel ready to get those out there.
Yeah. Well, good for you for pushing forward and pivoting. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Yeah.